trying to be sharp. We have a lot to discuss, so welcome to the panel with the most sexy title on this EuroDiG. Well, we will compete with the blockchain ones, but we are there. So the GDPR session, and I'm really pleased to have such a full room. I didn't expect to be any different. My name is Vladimir Radunovic from Diplo Foundation. I'll moderate this panel. And I can assure you it's going to be really interactive. So don't relax, don't grab your laptops, because you will have to be involved into this. This is an educational session, so the goal of this session is actually to start with mysteries, to try to uncover some of the mysteries, and ultimately to get out of this session with well, maybe a more clear picture of what GDPR is about, what are some of the unclear things, and it should be educative for all of us. It will be interactive, so the format is the following. We'll start with a bit of interaction at the beginning with all of you to map what are the unclear questions, what are the concerns. Then we'll have a couple of resource persons which are going to lead the groups. They are going to present with a pitch one specific topic they're covering within the GDPR and try to get as many of you to follow them. You know, as the tourists running around new cities with the umbrellas, so they'll raise the umbrella, you go after them. So we'll split into groups. We'll have about 30-40 minutes in each of the groups. Some will be here, some will be outside, some will be in the lobby. We'll leave it to the resource persons to choose. So listen carefully when they do a pitch so you know who to follow. Afterwards, we'll go back here and try to summarize what are the key points that we takeaways from each of the groups, and then maybe underline what are the still open questions that we need to discuss further, maybe not at this session. And at the end, we'll also hear the messages, some of the, well, takeaways from the whole group that we can use as messages of the session. I'll introduce the resource persons afterwards. I want to start actually with all of you. As a sounding of the temperature of the room, how many of you would say that how many of you firstly know what the acronym GDPR stands for? That's a good start. Well, it's not everyone, right? That's good. That's a good start. Note it down. We have something to discuss. Okay, then I want you, we have the roaming mics somewhere over there, and can anyone help me with the mic for that audience? A volunteer? Sorina. You've been running around too much these days. Thanks a lot. So I want, and also for all of you around the table, just switch on the mic. I want to pick a couple of mysteries and questions from you. So what are the questions that you have to pose right now for this panel about GDPR? Be sharp, be sweet, one question, and please introduce yourself, okay? Shall we start? Anyone? Here? Yep.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. My name is Anastasia Nekrasova. I'm from Ukraine, working for the private law firm. And what actually is the most hot topic is the extraterritorial action of the GDPR, and actually how, like, that controllers outside EU should comply with GDPR regulation, but how this extraterritorial action could be enforced, actually. It is
Thank you. Taking notes, right? Okay. Good. Well, we should have prepared the easier one for the beginning. Okay, next, please. Anyone? Grab the mic. Come on, I'm sure you have questions. No. Why are you here?
Everything's clear.
Yeah. Professor Benedict.
Thank you very much. I would be interested how freedom of expression can be preserved, because there is an exception for public interest, public space, and so on, but it's not very clear how this is implemented in practice.
Okay, noted. More? Are you really so shy? Any other questions? There's a remote question. Yes, please.
So there is a question: when can SMEs find helpful resources for implementing GDPR?
Who was that?
From Amali de Silva.
Good.
Question is.
Thank you. Any other points? No one? Seriously? Okay, please. Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Jacques Begelinger, coming from Switzerland, from the private sector. And one of the big questions companies all around the world are asking themselves in their compliance efforts is whether GDPR has the potential to become a world standard or not.
Good. GDPR is as a world standard. Okay. Xana?
I am Oksana Prihodko, European Media Platform. I am also from Ukraine, and my question about balance between GDPR and access to information. For example, regarding official representatives' participation in EuroDiG, is it possible to hide official representatives behind the GDPR? Thank you.
Good. Yes.
Yeah, actually, our question we plan to discuss in our groups, and this, how does GDPR play as a restriction to trade? If for those that don't do trade law specifically, there is a way under WTO, so the World Trade Organization, to require a country to eliminate a restriction if it is a restriction to trade, which is not justified under one of the exceptions. So countries might be forced to eliminate measures that protect privacy if they are not designed a certain way. And could GDPR be subject to that?
You just misused your pitch minutes. No, I'm kidding. Okay, yes, question there. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, this is Veronica from Romania, Digital Citizens Romania think tank. My question is, why aren't we ready for a GDPR yet after so many years of negotiating it and 3 years of preparing it?
Okay, we'll skip that question. Thanks. Good question. Michael.
Hi. Hi. My name is Michael. I live in Serbia. I guess I don't really know how to formulate this question precisely, but I'll say given the fact that GDPR mandates that organizations and companies outside of Europe reflect their policies based on to reflect GDPR, how does this influence how potentially other countries could create laws that then make those companies or other countries comply with that? So that sort of thing. I think you get it. Is that clear? No? No? We'll come back to it.
You can probably raise it again in your group, so to clarify further. Okay, other? Yep.
Hi, I'm Patrick from UNICEF, and I think there are some open questions around how the GDPR protects the rights of children as data subjects. Things like accessibility of terms and conditions, age of consent, profiling for marketing and advertising. So it'd be interesting to see how this shakes out in the member states and more generally.
Hello, my name is Toji, and I'm an activist for the counter groups No Hate Speech Movement. It's more like a comment. What I'm about to say is more like a comment question. So before the 25th of May, I got a bunch of emails saying you need to reaffirm your email address to our company and stuff like that. The problem was that I never signed up to those companies, but I think it might have been shared one way or the other. So my question is, do you think that the GDPR is kind of used as a tool for continuous illegality in that aspect? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have one in the back, and then we'll turn to the table.
Hi, I'm Alexei from Moldova. My question is GDPR and Convention 108.
Good. We have Council of Europe here, so I'm sure we'll cover that. Sorry, there's a remote one, then we'll get back. Remote one, but switch on the mic.
Seris Kavdari, how GDPR impacts Indian enterprises working with European citizens' data?
Good. Yes, there.
Jat Singh, University of Cambridge. Does the GDPR put too much burden on the individual?
Mm-hmm. I hope you're taking notes. Huh? Good. Okay, any other? Should we stop there for the moment? Good, thanks a lot. The first lesson learned is that we failed the test of GDPR because you actually didn't ask how we are going to use your names when you presented yourself, and we didn't tell you what we are going to use your name for. So when asking you to introduce yourself, we actually are going to use your names only for the sake of remote moderation and the captioning. I hope. I don't know if EuroDiG is there. They're going to misuse it in any other way.
We're registering it, so probably
And read it,
they
yeah,
will
that's true.
misuse
They'll
it.
probably use it. Yeah, and when you register, also ask them what they're going to do with your data. Okay, the next part is the pitches. So we were thinking whether to start with 5 groups, but it's so many of us that we'll actually do 8 groups. So the next thing is we have a couple of resource persons, which are going to lead the group work, the group discussions on 8 topics. I'll give them the floor one after another to give a short pitch on what they are going to cover within their group. Try to make a note of the topic and the person you want to follow, because immediately after that, actually these persons are going to stand and leave, and you have to go with them. Some will be in the garden, some upstairs, some here, okay? And at the same time, for the remote participants, how many of them we have? Five. That's a good group already. So for the remote participants, they can probably express now their wish for the topics when they're listening, and we'll try to have one group next to the remote desk, so the group is also integrated. Okay, I'll start from my right as it goes, and I'll let you introduce yourselves because of the lack of policies about using the names and stuff. Adriana, your minute actually.
Hi. Hi, I'm Adriana. I'm coming from Belgrade, Serbia. My background is a lawyer working in ICT for many years, government, private sector, cooperating with Diplo also. And today I will be speaking about what GDPR really brings for private sector, data controllers and data processors. For me, the biggest change is the change in the corporate culture and corporate compliance and how you perceive it within one organization. But which are the practical implications that are really bringing management to think about GDPR, you can find out on my table. Thanks.
Thanks. Adriana, related to controllers, processors, and so on. Okay. Ben?
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming. My name is Claudio Lucena. I'm a researcher working for the Foundation for Science and Technology in Portugal, and in the institution to which I'm affiliated right now at the Católica University of Lisbon. We have been structuring and working with capacity building programs for GDPR for the past 2 years. Now, one of the modules that we thought was addressing a specific subsystem of GDPR that was not there in the convention, was not there in the directive, and it was one of the main environmental changes in the digital aspect, which is the social media platforms. So social media platforms are something that are, for the first time, specifically addressed in legislation in a body of law like that. So we're going to take, the idea was to put a lens from everything, consent, portability, right to be forgotten, from the aspect of social media. So that's what our group will focus on. We'll study or discuss the problems of GDPR specific to social media platforms. Thank you. I'm also reporting the session for Geneva Internet Platforms. I would really appreciate if you could, if you wish, and if you could state your names before you address. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Nana. I work at the DPA of Georgia. My topic today will be the role of the DPA and the penalties and the data protection officer. So GDPR is all about the rules, right? Do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. Data protection officer, privacy by design, data security, and so on, nonstop. But what is the value of the rules if there's no one to enforce them, right? So this is what the Data Protection Authority does. It supervises compliance with the GDPR. What can we expect from a DPA? Can it prosecute us? Can it fine us? What powers does a DPA have? What if the controller is outside the European Union? What would be the penalties for non-compliance with the GDPR? Answers to all of these questions you will get in my group, and everyone who chooses my group, please follow me to the lobby. Thank you.
So that means that Nana took the lobby. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Elena. I work for ICANN, and I'm sure that the topic my group will be discussing will not come as a surprise to you. It will be the whois. The commissioner referred to it this day at her video speech. So I have to say that I used to be a member state before, and I used to work for the European Commission as well. And as a European citizen, I'm very proud of this law. I'm happy that there has been a law enacted in the EU that makes my privacy and the privacy of individuals a value and protects it. There are, nevertheless, unintended consequences of what is, in its purpose, a very good law on the stability and the security of the internet through its effect on the whois. So, in my group, we will discuss why this is possible, how this is happening, explain, and hopefully address and contribute to discussions on how to resolve this. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome everybody. I'm Tapani Tadvainen from Finland, specifically Electronic Frontier Finland and University of Jyväskylä. And I'm going to lead a discussion about one little word, consent. But of course in GDPR context that's a rather big word. Things like when do you have to ask for consent, when you can't ask for consent, how can you ask it, how can't you ask it? Are these kind of emails, please confirm that you still want to receive these emails, actually legal or should be required? How can you withdraw your consent and when not? And what does that imply? What do you have to do about it? All kinds of little things that the consent seems to seep into almost everything within the GDPR. So you follow me, I don't know where, but I'm sure I'll be assigned a spot to go to.
Good morning, I'm Anna Kapanadze, I'm from Georgia. My background is law, and today I will cover data subject rights and the main novelties GDPR introduced to us, and if this is enough, if data subjects are aware of their rights, and if there are left some loopholes. I will be glad to discuss these issues with you. Thank you.
Yes, hello, I'm Martina, and I will moderate the discussion together with Peter on movement of data, cross-border movement of data. So Chapter 5 of GDPR, we're going to talk about how the regulation on movement of data changes now with GDPR, the new way of receiving adequacy decision. We're going to talk about the new proposals of having code of conduct and certificates and the GDPR, which are not yet discussed. And we're going to also talk about how GDPR and Convention 108 play with each other, because Peter has been working on the modernization of Convention 108.
Good. That's it. We have seven groups. We thought 8, but it's actually 7. Do we have any preferences from the remote participants? Not yet. So we'll have to assign them one of the groups. So before we split, I'll have to ask all of you to, one by one, stand up again so that people can see you. Adriana covering controllers and data controllers and processors. Okay. So just to memorize who are you following if you're interested in data controllers and processors. Okay, you can sit down, thank you. You'll have to stand up in a minute again. Claudio, please.
Interview here.
GDPR and social media. Sorry?
Ask for straw poll of how many people are likely to follow them. We have an idea how big groups
are. That might make sense. Okay. Who is interested into data controllers and processors? 2, 3. Okay. Maybe some more. 4. Okay. 5. Good. 6. Adriana. Next one. Claudio, GDPR and social media. Who's interested in GDPR social media? Good. Quite a good group. Thanks. Okay. Next. Nana. The role of the DPAs and DPOs. Data processing authorities. Good. 4, 5. Good. 6. Elena. Who is in GDPR? ICANN crew. That's good. Great.
Can we follow too?
That will be tricky, but you can run from one to another. We had that challenge yesterday. Okay, Tapani. So the consent. Good. Only 4? I would be surprised. I'm sure there will be more, but okay. Good. Then Anna, data subject rights. Data subject rights. Anna, you'll have to explain it again. No, seriously, do you want to explain again? To give another pitch? Yeah, it's okay.
It work? Yeah. Well, there are some rights of data subjects in GDPR I would like to cover. I would like to discuss them. What do they mean, and how does this impact our everyday lives? And do we know about them? Do we know what is going behind the desks? Do we know about the processing, about profiling, and so on? And what can we do? And if these rights, for example, right to be forgotten, right to data portability, if they are enough to protect our environment. I don't know.
Good. Should I ask you again, or simply follow her if you wish?
I can follow three.
Okay, at least one. Good. There'll be more, I'm sure, because they're not.
I don't know if I can follow three.
Okay, and the last one is Martina. So Martina is covering the data transfers, international data transfers, Convention of Council of Europe, and so on. You can stand up so they see you. That's Martina. Okay. Who is interested in that? Who's going to follow data transfer, international data transfer, Council of Europe, and so on? Two? Probably more? We'll see. Three. Okay. Any comments from the remote? Not for the moment. Okay. So we have time until, what was it, 11:50, right? No, 11.
It's already 11:53.
It's already 11. Yeah, 12:30. Sorry. Just a second. Yeah, we have until 1. So till 12:30, and then 12:30 we meet here. And we'll go this way. So firstly, Adriana will sit here. So whoever wants to sit with Adriana on the, what was it? The controllers, processors is here. The second one is Claudio. Claudio can go that corner, right? Claudio is covering social media. He'll be in that corner. The third one is Nana. Nana will go to the lobby. So where the reception desk, right, there is this nice fireplace. Nana is going there. She is the role of the DPA and DPO. Follow Nana there. Elena, who is, and the GDPR, is also in the lobby. We have 2 places in the lobby, so go with Elena in the lobby. Tapani is staying here behind, in that part of the room. Tapani, here. And see if there is, okay. Anna is also joining with Tapani, so we'll have together the consent and the data subject rights here, in this room. And finally, Martina is going out, if it's okay with you, in the garden. So whoever wants to chill out, you go to the garden to the data transfer, international data transfer. See you at 12:30.
Test.